All right, so we're taking a look at number 1, and it says circle the number that has an odd number of factors. Draw a square around the number that has an even number of factors. Your numbers are 13, 15, 25, 26. What we just talked about, even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So we know that we have factors listed from least to greatest that ends in a 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. That means it's even. And if you have some that ends in 1 through 3 or 1 to 5 factors, that means they are. Alright, so going back over what we discussed, the first number was 13. We said the factors for 13 are 1 and 13, which makes this a prime number, but those are only 2 numbers listed, so that means it has an even amount of factors. So 13 gets a square. 15, we listed 1 times 15, 3 times 15. We list these factors in order from least to greatest. That means there are 4 factors in all for 15, which means this number is a composite. It's composite, and it has an even amount of factors, which it also gets a square. We looked at 25. You have 1 times 25 and 5 times 5. Well, when we listed it in order from least to greatest, you have 1, 5, 25. Jamaria said that 5 is just 5, so we do not have to list it twice. So it only has how many factors for 25? 3. And so with 3, that means it's in prime. It has an odd number of factors. The last one was 26. We said 1 times 26 equals 26, and 2 times 13 equals 26. So when we listed in order from least to greatest, you have 1, 2, 13, and 26. That's 4 numbers, so that means this factor has an even amount of factors. So this number gets a square. So you should have had square for 13, square for 15, circle for 25, and square for 26. Any questions? All right, look at number 2. It says list the first 4 multiples of 16. The first 4 multiples of 16. So out of all this that we've been doing for Unit 1, we know that in order to find multiples, we must do what, Taekwon? Skip count. So if we're looking for the first 4 multiples of 16, we are going to skip count by 6. All right, so the first multiple is 16. The next multiple? 32. The next multiple? 48. And the next one? 48 plus 16? 8 plus 6? 14. 4 plus 1?
6.
4 plus 1?
5.
Plus 1.
6.
So the next multiple is?
64.
So your first 4 multiples of 16, you should have had 16, 32, 48, 64. Make sure you read your questions carefully on that test, because it's going to ask you something similar to this. It may not be the same number, but it may not be in the same order. They may say list the last 4 multiples. We don't know how they're going to answer, but you need to be able to read it and pay close attention so that you're doing exactly what it asks. It says list the first 4 multiples of 16. So if I'm counting by 16, I'm skip count. I go 16, 32, 48, 64. When I go to list the first 4, I'm going to have those 4, because that's how it goes in the order for skip counting by 16. Any questions for this one?
No, ma'am.
Kaylee.
I thought we were supposed to skip count to get to 16.
List the first 4 multiples of 16. Okay. Let's look at number 3. It says true or false. The following sentence describes a comparison using multiplication. Your sentence says a jet ski can travel twice as fast as a race car.
Yes, it is true. False. It's false.
If you say false, raise your hand. Tara, why do you say false?
Because the race car, it has a lot of miles and it can go faster, but when something travels on water, it goes a lot
So I want you to think about this. Listen, are we asking you literally, can a jet ski travel twice as fast as a race car? Are we literally asking you, if I put a jet ski in water and a car on the street, which one's going? Are we literally asking you that?
No.
The question says the following sentence does a comparison using multiplication. So read this question again. Read the sentence again. A jet ski can travel twice as fast as a race car. Is this using a multiplicative comparison here?
Yes.
So that is, because if I put numbers with it, that means that jet ski is 2 times as fast as that car. I'm not asking you which one actually goes faster. It's asking you, is this using a multiplication comparison? That's why it says describes a comparison using multiplication. The answer is true. Don't think so literal about questions like that. Remember, read the instructions for clarity. They didn't ask you, is this true? A jet ski travels twice as fast. They said, is this true using a comparison with multiplication? Any questions?
No.
Does that make sense to you, Tara? You get it now?
What?
Let's look at number 4. Elena raised $64 for her softball team. Amaya raised $8. How many times as much money did Elena raise than Amaya? Jamaria.
64 divided by 8 equals 8.
Correct. So if that's 64 divided by 8 equal to 8, that's the same as saying what?
8 times 8 equals 40. 64.
64. It is, and we call this type of relationship a what?
Factor family.
Fact family, not factor, fact family.
Okay, fact.
Any questions about that one?
No. This is my favorite color. Okay. Rainbow.
All right. Look at number 5. Answer the following questions. Is 21 prime or composite? Is 23 prime or composite? Is 29 prime or composite? Is 30 prime or composite? So, in order to find out, you know what you have to do? Just like what we did for number 1 to figure out how many had even or how many had odd factors, we're going to go and we're going to start with 21. Okay? With some factor pairs for 21. Can I?
Oh, I was thinking. I was trying to think of
Maggie.
7 times 3.
7 times 3. Joe. 1 times 21. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything else? All right. So if we list these in order from least to greatest, we have 1,
1, 3, 7, 21.
and that's more than 2 factors. So 21 is composite. Okay. Let's look at 23. Akiria. Anything else?
No.
It's just 1 and 23. So 23 is prime. No, composite is more than 2. Prime is just 2. The number 1 and the number itself. Let's look at 29. Chloe. What's your factor pair? 1 times what? 1 times 29. Can we find anything else that equals to 29?
No.
So that means this one is prime. Okay, and your last one, 30. Can I?
1 times 30. No, wait. 10 times.
Do the first one that you said.
Okay, 1 times 30.
1 times 30. Another one, Kaylee.
10 times 3.
10 times 3. Another one, Jamaria.
5 times 6.
5 times 6. All right, anything else?
No.
You sure?
Yes, it is. That's more. 13 times. 13.
Chloe. 15 times 2. Now we list them in order from least to greatest. You know, you have 1.
3. 2. Yeah, 3. 5. 6. 10. 15. 30.
And it's clear to say that 30 is a composite. We had a lot of factors for it. Any questions about number 5?
No.
So when you get to a problem like this on the test, use your work paper. You all are going to get boxes. Use the boxes just like this to show your work, because that's going to help you make sure you are attending to precision. All right. Number 6. List all the factor pairs for 16. And I put factor rainbow, so that means I want you to list the factor pairs just like we listed factor pairs to find prime or composite. And then you're going to list them and do your factor rainbow. So 16 is the number. What are the factor pairs for 16? Kyleria. 4 times 4. Jamarvion? 16. 1 times 6 is 6, so 1 times 1 times 16 is 16. Job, 2 times 8. Anything else? All right, so let's list in order from least to greatest. So to do the factor rainbow, it has to match its pair. 1 goes with
16.
2 goes with
8.
and 4 stays self. Because like Jamari said, 4 is just
4.
right. So any questions about that one? We've been doing that all these last 3 weeks, so we should be good on that. Let's go to the next page. Now we played this game, and it's really just an extension of what we know. Ordarian and Isaiah played a game called multiple turnover. Each player picks a factor and turns over all the multiples of that factor. Isaiah picked 8. Draw a circle around all the multiples of 8. So in order to find multiples, you have to do what? Skip count. So we're skip counting by 8. You're skip counting by 8. So I'm going to put 8 up here in the corner. And I know to first...
We don't have 7. It goes straight to 13.
Okay, that's all right. Just pay attention to number 7 right here. So 8 is the factor that Isaiah picked. And we're doing all the multiples of 8. It says draw a circle around all the multiples of 8. So from here, you have to count by 8. So you have 8. What's your next number?
16.
16.
30.
24. 32. 40.
48.
56.
64.
All right, so the largest number we had listed was 64. Well, we've listed from 8 to 64. So let's go through this list to circle all the multiples of 8. We have 8. We have 16.
We have 64.
We have 32. And we have 64. That's it. So if you get a question about a multiple turnover, the best thing to do, take that factor that they say, go ahead and do your skip counting on the side. Leave it on your paper so you can go back. You see how I went back? I saw 8, circle 8. I saw 16, I circled 16. 24 is not listed. Keep going. 32, circle 32. 40 is not listed. 48 is not listed. 56 is not listed. But 64 is. Crossed it out. So I was able to cover all of my multiples, and I had something to guide me. So do that on your paper when you get your when you're doing your test. All right, let's look at number 8. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, that's far. Tracy is 3 times as old as her brother. Tracy is 12 years old. How old is her brother? Write an equation to find out Tracy's brother's age. So, let's look. Let's take what we know. We're going to put T for Tracy. Tracy's 12, so T equals 12. And they said Tracy is 3 times as old as her brother. So that means we're going to put B for brother, blank times 3 equals 12 because she's 3 times as old as her brother. So what times 3 equals 12, Maggie? 4. And then if I go backwards, I would say B is equal to 12 divided by 3 equal to 4. So her brother's how old? 4. And you had to write an equation, so you could have either written this one or you could have written this one. You could have done both because they are all considered a what? Fact family. And if you skip count, it will give you your answer, but you still had to write an equation. Okay? Let's look at number 9. We took a test on number 9. List all the factors of 36. All right. Kyleria. 6 times 6. Taquan. 6 times 1 is 6. 1 times 36. Alexis. 3 times 12. Jamaria.
7 times.
Caleb. 4 times 9. Anything else?
Yes, it is.
Taquan.
2 times 18.
2 times 18. Now, I pulled a small group for people, and you should have 5 factor pairs for 36. So now we have to list it in order from least to greatest. So we have
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, obviously 36, 30, 18, 12, 18, 36.
So let's go back through your shelf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, 36. Keep in mind, we are listing these numbers in order from least to greatest. So whatever you put for the factor pair, you take those numbers from least to greatest and you list them. Okay? Any questions about number 9? We took a test on this, so this will be going home in your take-home folder. We actually took a test on just listing factors of 36. Okay? Number 10. Josie walks 5 times as far as Kylie. If Kylie walks 4 miles, how much farther does Josie walk than Kylie? This is a multiplicative comparison. And it has a little bit of additive inside of it. So look, Josie walks 5 times as far as Kylie. So we'll say J equals 5 times K. K equals 4 because that's how far she actually walked. So J would be J equal to 5 times 4. So J equals 20, correct?
Yes.
So Josie walks 20, but it says how much farther does Josie walk than Kylie?
4. No, wait. 20 more farther than 16.
Chloe, how you know?
Because I figured out because if you do 6 plus 4 like the 10 and those are 20, and so you just add the 10 to 6 plus 4 and so you get 6 plus 10 and that gives you 20.
Correct. So what you all need to pay close attention to is, yes, Josie is 5 times K and K is 4. Well, we know 5 times 4 is 20. So Josie actually walks 20 miles. Kylie actually walks 4 miles, but they said how much farther does Josie walk than Kylie? So from 4, how many do you get to get to 20? 16. Plus 6 gives you 10. Plus 10 gives you 20. That's 16. So you're doing 5 times 4 equals 20, but then you're going 20 minus 4, which gives you 16. So it's a 2-step. You got to multiply, then you have to add or subtract. That one's going to be on there. It's something similar to that. So don't let that trip you up. Make sure you read. It's all in the details of the reading. How much farther does Josie walk than Kylie? They didn't just ask you how many times farther. It's how much farther does she walk than Kylie. Any questions about that?
No.
All right. Number 11. The school cafeteria is 9 feet wide and 45 feet long. How many times longer is the length of the cafeteria than the width? Akiria.
45 divided by 9.
So you have 45 divided by 9, which equals to
5.
But it says how. Oh, yep, that's it. That's right. You have to be careful though, because remember with this one we had to do some extra. You have to be careful. You didn't have to do anything extra here. It just says how many times longer. It's 5.
Hey, Miss Mom, I got a question on these pages right here. We had the same pages that we did in class on this.
So you knew how to do it in class, so you should have been able to go home and be able to do it at home. All right, look at 12. List the first 5 multiples of 3. Another one just like we did on the first page. First 5 multiples of 3, which means we're counting by
3.
So we have
3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Is that your first 5?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your first 5. That's all you had to do. Count by 3 and list the first 5. Question?
No, ma'am.
Okay. You all said you go straight to 13 in your package, so now we're all together again. This one says list all the factors for 20. You know how we do. Write your 20 at the top. Let's go, Kanai.
5 times 4.
5 times 4. Kyleria. 1 times 20. Egypt. 2 times 10. Akiria. Anything else? Did we get all of them?
I think it's more.
We could flip it, but do we really have to?
No.
All right, so let's list it in order from least to greatest.
1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20.
Let's look at how many factors 20 has. I'm just gonna throw an extra question in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 20 has a odd or even amount of factors. Even. All right. Look at 14. Is 45 a prime or composite number? Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't we do 45?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was on the one when you did. It's the same thing. It's 2 like page 1. I got 2 page 1.
No, we didn't. I thought we did it already, but I mean, we talked about 45. So let's go. You know how to do this. Same process. When you're listing factors, that's how you're going to determine if a number is prime or composite. 20 is what? Composite. So let's look at 14. 45. We have to list them. Kyleria. 9 times 5. Mario. 1 times 45. Alexis. We already have 5 times 9. Same as 9 times 5. Anything else?
No. Wait. No. I think you got one more.
Akiria. 3 times 15. Now, clearly, without listing this has more than one factor pair. So this number is composite.
Yes, I got it.
Let's look at 15. Oh, any questions about 14?
No, ma'am.
15. Emma read 17 books for a reading contest. AC read 4 times as many books. How many books did AC read? So this is a 2-digit by a 1-digit number because you have 17 times 4. Now, there's a strategy that we use for this particular number. We're going to break this down by place value. So 17 becomes 10 times 4 and 7 times 4. Now, remember our little strategy we used with the zeros. Well, we should know 10 times 4 equals
40.
But if we did not know, we would cross this 0 out. 1 times 4 equals
4.
Add your 0 back.
40.
7 times 4.
28.
So now we take
40 plus 28 equals 68.
68. So AC read 68 books. Let's look at number 16. Any questions about 15? 16. Braden has 9 video games. Christian has 4 times as many video games as Braden. How many more video games does Christian have than Braden? So what's the first step, Kaylee? What's the first step? Kyleria.
9 times 4.
Right? So 9 times 4 equals what?
36.
36. Remember, we just did our factors for 36. And what's the second step?
We gotta subtract 9 from 36.
Very good. So then you go 36 minus 9. So how many more video games does Christian have than Braden? Jamaria.
I got it. 28.
Take your time.
27. Don't do it. Jordan, why would you say that?
So that one was for Jamaria, Jordan. But the answer is 27. You should apologize because that was for her to answer. So now you took her thinking away from her. All right, so Christian actually has 27 more. All right. Any questions about 16? That was another one that required you to do 2 steps. Multiply and either add or subtract. Let's look at 17. Kyrie and Kaylee were playing multiple turnover. Kyrie said that the factor is 7. What cards can Kaylee turn over? Circle your answer. So we have to count by 7. So over to the side, 7. So we have 7.
14. 21. 35. 28. 35. There's no 28.
All right, we can stop at 35 because we don't have anything larger than 35, do we?
No.
So now we need to go through our list. What? Do we have a 7? No.
Yes, we do.
Do we have a 14?
Yes.
Circle it and cross it off on this list. Do we have 21?
Yes.
Circle and cross it off. 28?
No.
35?
Yes.
Circle and cross it out. And that's it. This is why it's important to actually write this on your paper so when you're doing the test, you can go back to it and make sure you're not skipping something. Any questions about 17? Let's look at 18. Talia was working on her factor rainbow for the number 18. What is her first number? What is her last number? Show Talia's factor rainbow in the space below. So, this is I would say it's 2 steps here because you have to list all the factors for 18, but then you have to go back and list them in order from least to greatest, showing your rainbow. So I'm going to put a little sticky note here so we can list all the factor pairs for 18. What's one factor pair? Kaylee. 1 times 18. Another one, Faith. 3 times 6. Another one, Mario.
4 times 9.
Not 1 times 9.
He said 4 times 9. 2 times 9.
2 times 9. Anything else? Look at what we already have listed. Anything else? Alright, so now we have to list this in order from, and I'm going to go ahead and put it here so we can just be able to do our factor rainbow after that. So we have
1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 8, 18.
Now, remember your first 2 questions. What is her first number? If you're if you're listed for least to greatest here, her first number showing her factors is what?
1.
And her last number is
18.
18. Now your rainbow, 1 pairs with,
1 and 18.
2 with,
19.
3 with.
6.
That's it. Any questions about that one? Who got that one right? That was an easy one.
Me.
You should know. You really didn't even have to do the factor rainbow for that. If you know your first number is always going to be 1, your last number is always going to be the number that you're looking for.
No, and the last number is always the number that it's talking about.
Right, the number that you're looking for. All right, let's look at 19. Circle 2 numbers that are composite. Circle 2 numbers that are composite.
43 and
So, get another post-it note because you need to be able to go through each number to be sure that it's prime or composite. So the first one is 1. Well,
4 times 1.
and that's it. So that's what? 1 is a prime. 23.
1 times 3. 7 times 3. I mean, never mind. 21.
Anything else? So this is
3 times 1.
33.
Yes.
1 times.
33 and
11 times 3.
3 times.
So this one is. So we can circle 33. What about 43?
No.
What's the factors pairs?
1 times 43.
Anything else?
No.
All right, look at the last one. 63.
Yes. 1 times 63 and 7 times
7 times 9. All right, that's composite. Any questions? You know 7s were a part of your multiplication from the beginning of school, so you should know your 7 timetables by now.
7, 14.
Any questions? All right, let's look at 20. 20 says, we're waiting on everybody to get focused. Remember, this study guide and this video is for you and your parents, so they'll know exactly what you're being tested on tomorrow and Friday. So let's be courteous. 20. Circle 3 numbers that are prime. Same process. And remember, prime numbers have 2 factors, the number 1 and the number.
Itself.
So let's look. 2 was factor pairs for that. 1 times 2. So 2 is nothing else, so we'll circle that one. What about 7?
Yes. Prime.
1 times 7.
Anything else?
No.
Prime. What about 10?
Composite.
What's your factor pairs?
5 times 2. And 5 times 5.
1 times.
So that's composite, so we're not even looking at that one. What about 13?
Prime.
Factor pairs.
1 times 13. 13 times 1.
Or 13 times
And your last one, 14.
composite.
What's your pairs?
1 times 14. 2 times 7.
All right. Any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
Who all got those right? Okay. And that was all of that. So we did a mixture of problems. So those first 2 pages, it was a mixture of problems. You will see questions similar to those. But you now know how to solve those because you can apply what you learned in class to solve those problems. Now, we talked about multiplicative comparison. I gave you like 2 or 3 inside those last 2 pages. But this next 12 problems, it's nothing but multiplicative comparison. So let's take a look at it. Number 1, there were 21 adults in line at a movie theater. That is 3 times the number of children in line. How many children were in line? So number 1, we know there's 21 adults. So we'll say A for adults equals 21. That is 3 times the number of children in line. So our equation for that should be what?
21 divided by 3 equals 7, and then 7 times 3 equals 21.
So 21 divided by 3 will tell us how many children there are in line. C is actually equal to 7. So there are 7 children in line.
You can also do division.
That's your division. Your multiplication will be 7 times 3 equals 21. Any questions about that one? Let's look at number 2. A restaurant sold 9 salads and 45 steaks. How many more steaks did they sell as salads? Kaylee. So 45 divided by 9 equals 5.
Then you can do 9 times 5 to check your answer.
No. Everybody look at number 2. All eyes on me. 1, 2, 3. A restaurant sold 9 salads and 45 steaks. How many more steaks did they sell as salads? So 45 divided by 9 equals 5.
So they sold 5 as...
They sold 5 times as many steaks as salads. But how many more steaks did they sell as salads?
5.
Job. $45 minus 9 equals 36. So they sold 36 more steaks than they did salads. That's a 2-part. Did you really even have to do this part up here?
No, ma'am.
No. All you had to do was subtract subtract 9 from 45. Questions?
No, ma'am.
Let's look at number 3. A pet store sold 2 cats. They sold 6 times as many dogs as they sold cats. How many dogs did they sell? So you have cats equals 2, dogs equals 6 times 2.
Equals 12.
D equals 12. So they sold 12 dogs.
Yes. Yay, I got to know.
Any questions about number 3?
No, ma'am.
Let's look at number 4. Okay. There were 32 adults and 4 children in line at a movie theater. How many more adults were in the line than children?
So you have to subtract 32 from 4.
Can't take 32 away from 4. Hold up 4 fingers. Can you take 32 away from there?
No, wait, you have to do 32 divided by minus.
So 32 minus 4. To say that, you say you have to subtract 4 from 32.
And 32 divided by 4 equals 28.
There's not division here. That is
28.
subtraction. 32 minus 4 equals
28. That was 28.
Now, I'm going to throw an extra question in there. How many times more adults were there than children? Caleria.
28.
Say it now. Nope. Kaylee. 8 times 4 equals
32. Vanessa.
All right, let's look. Any questions about number 4?
No, ma'am.
Number 5. Vanessa sent 25 text messages a day. Mike sent 5 a day. How many more texts did Vanessa send than Mike?
5.
Akiria.
25 divided by 5. No, 25 times 5.
Chloe.
25 minus 5.
25 minus 5. Jeremiah and Amaya, I don't think your parents want to hear me telling you to be quiet on this video. This video is getting posted today. Vanessa sent 25 text messages a day. Mike sent 5 a day. How many more texts did Vanessa send than Mike? It told you Vanessa sent 25. Mike only sent 5, so all you're doing is 25 minus 5.
Equals 20. Oh my God.
All right, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Let's look at number 6.
426.
Haley had 4 times as many dollars as her sister. Her sister has $3. How much more money does Haley have than her sister? So two steps. What's your first step? Kaylee. 4 times 3 equals
12.
Now, how many more dollars does Haley have than her sister? Do you have to do what, Job? Here. Subtract what? 12 minus 3 equals
4. Not 4. That equals 9.
9. So Haley has 9 more dollars than her sister. Any questions about number 6?
No, ma'am.
You got it right? Good. Let's look at number 7.
This is so easy.
Wendy and Kylie were playing basketball.
We don't have.
Kylie made 7 times as many shots as Wendy missed. If Kylie made 14 shots, how many shots did Wendy miss? Okay, so follow along with Mrs. Cobb. Wendy and Kylie were playing basketball. Kylie made 7 times as many shots as Wendy missed. If Kylie made 14 shots, how many shots did Wendy miss? Kylie made 7 times as many shots as Wendy missed. So Kylie made 14 shots. So how many shots did Wendy miss? Job, 2. What's your equation? We can say 2 times 7 equals 14, but according to the problem,
14 divided by 7 equals 2.
Very good. 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Look at 8. At the state fair, for every ticket Frank spent on games, he spent 6 on rides. If he spent 48 tickets on rides, how many did he spend on games? At the state fair, for every ticket Frank spent on games, he spent on rides. If he spent 48 tickets on rides, how many did he spend on games?
So we would have to do 6 times something to equal 8. No, 48 divided by 6 equals
48
what?
divided by 6 equals 8.
No, wait. 6 times 8 equals
48. 48 divided by 6.
6 equals 8.
Right. Any questions on this one?
No, ma'am.
Think about it like this. Remember, at the state fair, for every ticket he spent on games, he spent 6 on rides. So if he spent 48 tickets on rides, how many did he spend on games? So 48 divided by 6 is going to give you 8.
8.
All right. Let's look at number 9. Any questions about 8?
No, ma'am.
9. Joel read 9 books. George read 7 times as many books. How many more books did George read than Joel? 2 steps.
You have to do 9 times 7. 7 and that number that product you have to subtract 7 from.
First of all, what's 9 times 7? 63. Now,
So 63 minus 7 equals
56.
56.
All right. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Let's look at 10. Amaya sold 8 boxes of cookies. Kaylee sold 7 times as many boxes. How many boxes did Kaylee sell? How many more boxes did Kaylee have than Amaya?
8 times 7 and that number, that product.
8 times 7 is? 56. Pause for a second. Remember why you had to study 7 timetables? Do you not have a lot of 7s in this? You have.
We got some 8s too.
You have some 8s and some 9s too.
56 minus 7 equals.
Now, the first part, 8 times 7 is 56. So, Kaylee sold 56 boxes. How many more did she sell than Amaya?
49.
Kyleary, thank you for raising your hand.
56 minus 7.
Look, Amaya sold 8.
Oh, 56 minus 8.
56 minus 8, which gives you how much? Maggie?
48.
48. Any questions? You all, I don't know if you got it now, but you really have to read these problems carefully because they will trip you. They will make or break your math test. They don't do partial credit on this math test. Y'all should know that by now. If you get one part of the question wrong, the whole thing's wrong.
You got partial credit. You do get partial credit in the 3rd grade. Are we taking the test on Pearson? Is it the Pearson test?
It is. All right, let's look at number 11. Let's focus. Josie answered 3 questions correctly on the first grammar test. She answered 15 correctly on the first spelling test. Josie got blank times as many spelling questions correct as she did grammar questions. Josie answered 3 questions correctly on the first grammar test. She answered 15 correctly on the first spelling test. Josie got blank times as many spelling questions correct as she did grammar questions. Chloe.
You would have to divide
15 divided by 3 equals what, Chloe? 5. So 5 goes in this blank. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. Number 12. Braden and Christian were in a competition. Braden won 9 races. Christian won 81 races. How many times more races did Christian win? How many more races did Christian win than Braden? So you got 2 questions. The first one, how many more times did Christian win? Jamaria.
81 divided by 9 equals 9. Yes or no?
Now, he won 9 times as many. But how many more races did Christian win than Braden? Kyleria?
81 minus 9.
Equals? Kyleria? Kanai?
72.
72. Any questions?
Oh.
Okay? Now you had comparison statements that required you to do multiplication equations. 21 days is 3 times longer than 7 days. What is your equation? Akiria.
It gives us the answer on the side anyway.
Slash 7 times 3 equals 21. 8 pounds is 4 times as heavy as 2 pounds. Kanai.
2 times 4 equals 8.
2 times 4 equals 8. Very good. 72 inches is 12 times the length of 6 inches. Jeremiah, you should be sitting in your seat, not falling under the desk and sliding. Sorry, class, back to the problem. 72 inches is 12 times the length of 6 inches. Job. 12 times 6.
Or 12 divided 6.
Slash.
12 divided 6. Oh.
72 divided by not 12 this time. Equals 12. And the last one, 30 fish is 5 times as many as 6 fish. Maggie.
5 times 6 equals 30. Slash 30 divided by 5 equals 6. I'm finna say that one. They call it 21.
All right. Any questions about this? Do you all understand what you were supposed to do with this now?
Yes.
So look, on the test, you may have to read a comparison statement, and they're probably going to ask you for a multiplication equation to go with it. Notice, multiplication equation. Now, we did put the division, but you should be focusing on the
Multiplication.
because that's what they're asking for. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now, the rest of this, we finished this in class, so I just sent it back home so you can practice it again. Anybody have questions about any one of these pages?
No, ma'am.
All right. So that is our Unit 1 study guide.
That was fun. Yeah, because you. Oh, this is lesson 10. Oh, this is.
This video is still going.
Anytime, know your mom